Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 11 Pro and compare it against the iPhone XS and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Is it the iPhone 11 Pro from 2019 or is it the iPhone XS from 2018? And considering that both these phones are really only like 1 year away from each other, it's always very interesting to see how both these devices kind of compare from that particular side. So we'll take a look throughout this whole entire video. The big thing I'll probably tell you though is that if you want to pick up either one of these devices, links will be down in the description. So you can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular devices, the big thing you have to keep in mind is that both these devices for the most part are slightly different. I think the iPhone XS was a very good phone when it first came out, but it was very, very different than something like the, iPhone XS. The iPhone XS came out in 2018, and this was a phone that, for better or for worse, it was a very, interesting device to say the least. It pretty much looked exactly the same as the iPhone X at that moment, which I thought was pretty interesting, kind of too. I think they should have changed some things, but it was basically almost the same exact phone. You're getting the notch up top, which was great, 60Hz panel on the outside, Face ID sensor on the front. And I do think overall this was a very good phone. It was a very good display, and it was, something that I really liked a lot within this particular phone. But with the iPhone 11 Pro, it was kind of more or less the same thing as well. It was basically the same 5.8-inch display. I think it did get slightly brighter on that panel. I think it got 1200 nits of brightness. The XS, I'm not really too sure how much brighter it got, but it was slightly brighter on the iPhone 11 Pro. On top of that, with something like the iPhone 11 Pro, you're still getting the notch. You're still getting a same type of build quality on the outside. Not much has changed as far as I can tell here either. But if I'm looking at both these phones, definitely something like the iPhone 11 Pro is a very good looking phone. And I would say that is probably the better looking one than the XS. Both have lightning ports at the bottom, curved sides a little bit, which is still kind of fine for the most part. On the back side, you're getting this glass back on the iPhone XS, which is great. And on the iPhone 11 Pro, you're getting this frosted glass back. So this in and of itself is another very cool thing going on for both these phones as well. Having a triple camera setup on the back of the iPhone 11 Pro is very nice. iPhone XS with that dual camera setup is also very, very nice as well, don't get me wrong. You're still getting, wireless charging on both, IP certification on both as well. And there is still a lot of cool stuff to like between both these phones, which again is super cool. I love being able to pick up one or both of these phones and kind of compare them. And I definitely would tell you on the exterior, the iPhone 11 Pro is by far the better looking one and the more premium one in almost every single way than the iPhone XS. And if I were to go through and pick up a device, it would have to be the iPhone 11 Pro. This was a significantly better phone in majority of ways that I can kind of see. If I'm going to pick up one device, it has to be the iPhone 11 Pro. That is the better one I can kind of see in this particular example. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. From the price tag side, this is also another interesting thing going on here as well. The big thing you have to keep in mind here with both these phones, the iPhone 11 Pro is a phone, again, that came out in 2019, but it's not the most expensive phone anymore. This phone has been, outdated it's not outdated, but it's gone down in price so many times right now that is a phone that I'd look at and I'd be very, very happy to kind of think about it buying because it just isn't that expensive anymore. It's gone down hundreds of dollars. You can probably buy this phone for like less than $300 right now. So it makes a lot of sense to go and purchase a phone like that. I think the iPhone XS in a lot of ways too is still a very, very good phone. I look at that particular phone and I'm very happy with it. And that is the device that I'd look at and I'd be very, very happy and excited with the way that phone has kind of been aging because it doesn't really cost as much as it used to cost. So that phone being almost like $1,000 phone pretty much is going to cost not even $200 now. It's probably going to be cheaper than that. That's a really big advantage of buying a phone like the iPhone XS over the iPhone 11 Pro as well. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. Now from the camera side of things, this is also another very interesting thing here as well. So you're getting a dual camera setup on the iPhone XS, a 12 megapixel wide, then a 12 megapixel telephoto lens. With the iPhone 11 Pro, you're getting a triple camera setup, 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel telephoto, and then a 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera. You're getting 4K at 60 on the front and the back of both these phones, which is a very nice thing to have, and that's something I love about both these devices. And I definitely would tell you if I'm going to go through and use one of these phones, I like the added fact that I can go through and just have a phone like the iPhone 11 Pro, which is going to be a significantly better phone in almost every single way than the iPhone XS. Like I said before, I look at a phone like the XS and I think that camera is good and it's good enough for the most part. But if I'm going to go through and pick up a phone, I would prefer something like the iPhone 11 Pro. I feel like that type of camera is just going to do a much better job at a majority of things that I throw at it. And that is the thing that I look at, and I probably tell the average person from that particular example to buy a phone like the iPhone 11 Pro because that camera is going to be better. But I still think the iPhone XS is still very decent. Like you can do some very decent shots on it, but that is not anywhere close near to a photo or video of camera that I'd recommend people to buy. It's because it's kind of like not that good of a camera anymore. So once again, kind of keep that in mind. I still think there's a lot of reasons why you should go ahead and buy a phone like this, but I think with the iPhone 11 Pro, it is clearly the better one in almost every single way. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now, on top of that, another big thing to keep in mind here too is with both these phones, I think the thing with the iPhone 11 Pro is that this phone is, probably going to be lasting longer from a software perspective than the iPhone XS. Like I said before, and I've said this so many times now, I think the iPhone XS is clearly the type of phone that I look at. And I think with both these phones, that is the type of phone that I look at as probably being the longer lasting one. I think the XS is probably going to finish off on iOS 18. So it's going to continue getting all these software updates on iOS 18, which is great. But I don't think it's going to last longer or much longer past iOS 18 as of this point. So I think the iPhone 11 Pro could still probably get iOS 19, which I'd be very, very happy about. But as of this point, that's kind of what we're stuck with. And I still think there's a lot of reasons why a device like the iPhone 11 Pro might be the better one here in this particular example too. And like I said, if I'm looking at both these phones, I love the iPhone 11 Pro. Very, very good phone. And that is going to be the longer lasting one here from a software perspective over the iPhone XS. So from that side, yet again, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now, on top of that, another big thing here is when it comes down to the actual performance side. The iPhone XS is giving you that Apple A12 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. With the iPhone 11 Pro is basically giving you that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM as well. And this is another very big thing to keep in mind here. The performance of something like the iPhone 11 Pro is probably going to be a significantly better performing phone on that particular device than something like the iPhone XS. So if I'm sitting here, right, and if I'm getting a phone, I would rather just have something like the iPhone 11 Pro in this particular case than something like the iPhone XS. The XS is still good, like it's good enough if you're opening up apps and closing apps and stuff. It's probably going to be okay, but the iPhone 11 Pro is going to be the significantly better one in almost every single way as well. And like I said before, that's the phone that I'd look at, and I'd be much better or just much more happier of recommending people to buy that phone over something like the iPhone 11 Pro than buying something like the iPhone XS. Like the iPhone 11 Pro is a significantly better phone from a performance side as well. And that's just kind of what ends up happening. But I think the 11 Pro is still good and everything. And I think the XS is still fine, but the 11 Pro is significantly better in this particular example from a performance level as well. And to kind of sum it up, what I'll definitely tell you is I like both these phones a lot. But the iPhone 11 Pro is clearly the better one in almost every single way that I'd probably recommend people to buy over something like the iPhone XS. I think with these types of devices, the iPhone XS is still here, it's still supported, and it's still good. But when I look at something like the iPhone 11 Pro, it's one of those phones that's just ages so well over time. And that is the phone that I look at and I would kind of highly recommend people to go ahead and buy. It's a beautiful phone, it looks great, and that's kind of the one I'd recommend people to buy. I think the XS is still fine and everything, but definitely go for the iPhone 11 Pro for sure. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.